Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a long while since done one of these. Just not really got around to it. There's been a lot of some other stuff. So yeah, we've basically missed half the baseball season. Well, not half of it, but
About a third, yeah.
yeah. I think our last episode was reviewing the first 2 weeks of the season or something like that. So
Yeah.
there's a lot has happened since then.
Yeah, we're up around the 60 game mark now.
So we're going to have to be selective of the main storylines really to
Yeah.
talk about, and hope we'll be able to do this more often, like for the rest of the season after this.
Yeah. Yeah, because once every 6 weeks, quite a lot happens in baseball, doesn't it, really, in 6 weeks?
Yeah, but I mean it's probably the best part of the season to miss, to be honest. The first part, because it's difficult to read into stuff much at that point.
Yeah, I mean, our last podcast was a lot of, does this mean anything? And it was
Yeah,
just like, well, we don't know because it's 2 weeks. And stuff's kind of taken shape a bit more now. Most of
yeah,
it, to be honest, is been pretty predictable.
yeah. It has. Um, it's almost too much shape. Some of it though, isn't it? There's some of it is already set,
Yeah.
almost for the rest of the season. But anyway, let's get on with the actual podcast. What are we beginning with?
What do you want to start with?
I thought we were gonna. I thought this was your bit.
Oh God, that's not good. That's never good.
Isn't this our
Um,
format? Isn't this the only bit of format we have? Is that I ask you what we're going
let's
to talk about?
We're gonna go Jay Bruce because that's just happened,
Okay.
or is happening, I should say. I'll just check it hasn't actually happened.
Yeah, that's a good
But
idea. But yeah, it was announced by who was it announced by?
I think it was Jeff Passan first, and then Ken Rosenthal tweeted overnight, our time, that it's going to be for a minor leaguer, and
That's not exactly surprising, though, is it?
no, it's just a random minor leaguer. As though it matters which one it is. I'm guessing it's not going to be much because the Phillies are paying most of his contract,
Yeah,
and
and I
he's owed 14 million this year and next year.
oh okay, that's quite a lot then, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's almost a salary dump then, I'd guess.
yeah. Although the Mariners are paying some money, I think.
I don't think the Phillies haven't exactly got big. I don't know them that well, but they've not got big names to give away anymore, have they? Anyway, and it wouldn't be that anyway. But yeah, he's trade. I think for the Phillies, it's more of them going completely win now, isn't it? Um, which I I think it fits well with the other moves they've made, but in general, um, slightly reckless, like a lot of the other moves they've made.
Yeah.
Don't you
Although
think?
when they're not giving up
Yeah,
much, I
yeah, I
the
guess so.
only the only
This
concern,
one's not so reckless, I suppose, when they've already
yeah,
done the other moves.
yeah, it just ties their hands a bit when you've got a guy who's on 14 million next year. If he slumps horribly the rest of this year,
Yeah,
what do you do with him? Like he's at least going to be taking up a roster spot, isn't he? But I don't think he will. The thing with him is he's been at like one guy until last year when he was just bad.
yeah, and he had injury problems
Yeah.
last year. He's actually had a little bit of injury problems this year too, but
Um,
um, he's just hit more power
yeah, he's
so
basically
far.
and the thing is as well is he's a left-handed slugger going to Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah, he
W-
could he could get another like 25 home runs the rest of the season for the Phillies or something.
Yeah,
I mean
he's gonna
that
hit
that
bombs
would
there.
leave him with 39 home runs, which seems stupid, but
Well,
Citizens Bank Park is not a big ballpark.
and the thing with him is he's a massive pull hitter. There's his short to right center, and he also this year has basically just become like a parody of Jay Bruce.
Yeah,
Like he's always been low average, walk a bit, hit for a lot of power, and then this year his average has got lower, and he's just hitting for more power.
Yeah, well, he's actually got almost as many home runs as walks as well this year.
Yeah, you've got to like that. You've got to have a lot of time for that.
Yeah, he's not even well. I don't think he's usually walked a huge amount, has he? Um, so his walks numbers haven't gone down hugely, but they've gone down slightly. He's basically just getting on base less, but when he does,
He goes around
it's
all of them. That's it, basically.
yeah.
He doesn't
Doesn't
do
want to
anything.
do base running anymore.
No, which I can
He's given
understand.
up.
I've got a lot of time for that attitude.
Yeah. Um, so they're basically going to move McCutcheon to centre. Seems to be what they're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I'm
I've not been following them lately. Didn't you mention the other day that McCutcheon played in centre
yeah, I just looked at a couple of
the
their
other
box
day?
scores. He was in centre with Williams in left. A lot of the reporting's been that Bruce is going to be a bench bat, but I don't think you pay that much money and trade for a bench bat. I think he's going to play a fair bit of left field.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to play as well
Well, he's pretty
because he's
good.
just yeah. Without even without the on base percentage, he's better than Nick Williams. I think.
And actually, one thing we criticised the Phillies for um, a lot was that they made all these big moves and they left a hole in the lineup or
Yeah, and
some
it's
holes. And this kind of fills one of them. I mean, the Herrera stuff, it sounds like he's never going to play for them again.
yeah,
From what was it Gabe Kapler or one of the others basically said as much, I think, the other day. And he was one of the offensive weaknesses. And now their outfield defense isn't going to be amazing with McCutcheon in center and Bruce in left. But also, who cares? That outfield offensively is insane.
yeah. That's like I don't know. In that ballpark as well, they could get like close to 100 home runs in a full season together. I reckon.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you pair that with Reese Hoskins and Segura and stuff like. I think it's quite a big upgrade for
yeah,
them because Bruce also this year hasn't been. He's not played that much outfield, but he's not been useless.
yeah. Compared to what they had at the start of the season, basically, if you basically saying in the lineup, he's replacing Herrera from what their lineup was at the start of the season. I feel like that's one of those moves that it just makes the whole team a lot better because it's the whole thing of the not having holes in the lineup. I think is so huge because I mean, Herrera would have been batting, would it have been seventh or something? He would have been behind Real Muto or something like that at the
Yeah,
start of the year, maybe, or well, that's probably where Jay Bruce might be. So when you're pitching to Real Muto and Herrera was up next, who apart from that on base streak he had last season,
he's just not a good
is just
offensive player.
is just not good. You're going to go around him a lot, really, aren't you? I mean, especially if Real Muto's hot or there's like people in scoring position or something. Um, but then if you have Jay Bruce, you may well still prefer to face Jay Bruce than Real Muto, but there's also a decent chance that you give up an extra run because he's going to hit over the wall
Yeah, exactly.
quite often.
It's just quite a nice move, I think. Of the Phillies moves they've made, that's one of my favorite ones because it's also for the people who criticize teams for not spending. I'm assuming they're not really giving up much to get him. It's basically they're just saying we're happy to spend the money.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a risk. I do think there is a slight risk that he either is injured or for some reason like injuries contribute and he's bad next year.
yeah. I think there's a decent chance of that, but they are doing that. At least it fits with what the rest they're doing. I think the most annoying thing with teams when like how they run is when they make decisions that contradict each other.
Yeah,
At least they're doing. I don't think it should have been quite what they did when they're going where they start going completely all in. But this just backs it up. They
yeah.
just they're just gonna. That's just what they're gonna be doing.
Well,
It's
and at
like
least
okay,
that means
fair enough.
there's collective thinking, and that's always the key in sports teams. Like in every
Yeah,
sport, the ones that are bad are the ones who are like just sort of jumping around between ideas.
yeah,
But at least the Phillies, like there's clearly a direction that it seems like the people who are making decisions have bought into,
yep,
and that's better than a lot of other teams. Like well, like the Los Angeles Lakers. They're just like awful. This is like and they're the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah,
And like
they've had like four like, of different people and outside influences and stuff
yeah, and so at
uh,
least with the
giving their
Phillies,
opinions and
they're like, well, we're a couple of games ahead. Let's get someone who's gonna like improve us short term. We'll worry about the money next year if we have to. I kind
yeah,
of got some time for that.
yeah. So anyway, let's move on because we've spent a big chunk of time talking about that one. Although the one thing that's specifically like recent news.
Yeah, that's actually relevant for once.
Um, and the other stuff is more of a like a well, the next two things more of a season-long trend. So Cody Bellinger.
Yeah,
What do you think of Cody Bellinger?
well, it's mental. That's it. That's basically just absolutely mental. Um,
Yeah,
to both to get your walk rate going up significantly and basically cut down strikeouts to the point that you're striking out like a contact hitter and still hitting. Only Yelich has hit more home runs this year.
yeah.
Um, that is extraordinary.
I think the thing that's so impressive with it is like it's basically where he's been improving. I mean, his numbers show last year was worse, but it's well, as we were just talking about before, the narrative doesn't fit quite as well as I wanted it to. But there is still a bit of this here where even though he was worse last year, his strikeout rate actually went down.
Yeah,
Um, and well, I think his walk rate went down as well a little bit, but still, basically, and if you watched him last year, he started having short swings and like sometimes just hitting a single to the opposite field instead of going for his big sweeping home run swing on every situation. Basically, become more of like an intelligent hitter. And then I feel like this year it's basically combined his last two seasons, where he's got this stupid power from his rookie year, but also is just more of an intelligent hitter. So he's basically just really, really good now. And I think that's basically the impressive thing. And when you look back at like all-time greats, I mean, it's quite soon to say Cody Bellinger could be that, but they're people that have a really good year and then still improve.
well, that's what
They
Mike
still
Trout's
make
done, isn't it?
adjustments. Whereas, because I mean, how good he was in 2017, he could have just carried on playing exactly the same way. But
Yeah,
I think the big reason why was the playoffs, wasn't it? I think.
yeah, we just
But
got scuppered.
he could have still just said, "Oh well, I was so good in the regular season, I'm just going to carry on doing that." Whereas I think a lot of players probably would do that. They so about the self confidence and stuff thing as well, where they just be like, "Yeah, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing." It's like a phrase that people put out there quite a lot. But even though he won Rookie of the Year and got a lot of MVP votes, he changed how he played, and I think like that's the benefit he's getting this year is that he's not just a person that swings for home runs. It's because
Yeah,
basically he was Joey Gallo's also having a good year, but I was saying he was more like Joey Gallo in 2017.
yeah. He
Like
was
when he
like,
first came up, he was basically just a home run or nothing. It felt like, um, and he's basically adjusted completely. So now he is just. I mean, he's like just having one of the best seasons of all time at the moment,
well, he's I mean,
and
it is.
it's June now.
Yeah, it's not a freak anymore. Like this isn't
Well,
a hot start. And you look at the underlying numbers.
yeah, I
Like
was just going to say that.
he's
I saw it a while ago, like a few weeks ago now, probably that basically his expected numbers, he's just about there. If anything, he was slightly below his expected.
his expected batting average. He's currently below. He's just above expected slugging, and it's like he's got a 1.2 OPS. If you, he's on pace for like the best season since like Babe Ruth. Depending on how he's doing each week, it's like he's
Barry
touching.
Bonds, no, probably not Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, surely.
No, I mean on B War, like that is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
well,
He's
yeah,
at five.
because that's the thing as well, isn't it? Is that he's like a versatile